All right, do your own research. Psychological impact of trading. So this one's going to be quite long. Take breaks, take rests, pause the video. So we're going to go over 4 parts again. This is my way of trying to keep things short. So we're going to go over why we are all sheep, us retail traders. Kind of the head games we have to deal with, the psychology, and perception versus perspective. So this is basically what we all want in trading, every trader. So everyone's in the same boat. We have hopes and dreams. Your hedge funds, your high frequency traders, your quants, your technical analysts, any type of trader, investor. We all want to enter the trend as early as possible at the cheapest price. So you'll hear the term a lot: buy the bottoms, sell the tops. Like that's basically what we're all trying to do, is buy the bottoms and sell the tops. And we all want to make the most money as possible in the shortest amount of time. Like that's why people buy lotto tickets. That's why people buy meme coins. And if you're a trader, that's why a lot of traders use high leverage and high risk. And the other goal that everyone has is we all want to exit positions at the exact tops and at the exact bottoms. So that's the simple explanation of trading or investing. That's all we want. That's what everyone wants. And of course, this is the hardest part about trading. That's the hardest part. It's hard to do all of this. So I'm going to go over some head games and how we traditionally think of money. So you've seen the commercials everyone has if you have a TV, and they'll say, buy gold now, or we buy gold, right? And I got this off the search browser. Just the commercials kind of, if you own gold and they're saying we buy gold, or a pawn shop wants to buy your gold, you're like, oh, this is an opportunity. That's how they try to sell it to you. Same thing is that, why should you own gold? It's trying to get people like you and me to buy gold, and we fall for it. So what they typically want is they want to buy your gold when they advertise those commercials about we buy gold. They're hoping that you sell their gold to them, and they want to offload their gold when they tell you, gold is a good investment, right? And they're paying for airtime a ton of money. So use critical thinking when you see these commercials. Who's paying for these commercials? And if you wanted to sell gold as a retail investor, could you afford these commercials yourself? And can you use this as free advertisement? So you kind of have to flip your thoughts. So the commercial's telling you to buy their gold, right? You have to look at it from a marketing business perspective. They're trying to offload their gold when they're trying to sell gold coins to you in commercials. So is that kind of a fundamental process that you might want to be involved in? I can't tell you, because they could be wrong. People might not have the money to buy gold. So, and then at the same time, when they're trying to buy gold, people might not have the gold to sell. They might have already sold it. So, you can use this. I'm just trying to point out that typically when you're not paying attention, you might look at it as an opportunity to buy or sell gold because they're telling you to. you have to look at it as free advertisement if you are in that trade. Like, is this marketing a good strategy? Do you think it's going to convince people? You kind of have to flip your mindset. So I'm going to go over Jim Cramer, and a lot of people make fun of him. But basically, a little background is NVIDIA, the graphics cards, right? We use them for crypto mining. I mine crypto. And I had to really find this video. It took me a while to find this video, but he's explaining why he is short on NVIDIA and why it's a loser. So just watch.
I'm going to see NVIDIA this week. I'm concerned about NVIDIA.
What's your concern about NVIDIA, Jim?
Well, have you seen the way that Bitcoin is traded? They still have this, they're moving away. Ethereum's new merger means that you do not need graphics cards. That has been an unintended consequence for NVIDIA. They make these great cards, and those people have been the people who've been mining have been using them. You do not need their cards anymore to mine. And at the same time, they haven't been able to make the transition yet to being artificial intelligence, virtual reality. We're just not there yet, machine learning. So we've got the high-tech stuff not there yet producing earnings, and we have the lower stuff being hurt by this Ethereum transfer. David, I don't know how much you follow Bitcoin, but Bitcoin seems to be another thing that the Fed is sick of.
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit more about that.
You like that, though, don't you?
Was a lot.
You like that.
Yeah. I like what?
All right. So as you can see, this is from the actual station that Jim Cramer works at. So this isn't like some AI generated video. But what I want you to focus on and pay attention to is the price, 130.85, and the date, September 19th, 2022. So we are at 130.79, and we're about in September. So around this line, September 22, right here, is when this video was made. And so if you look at it, they're looking at a line chart. So let's pull up a line chart. Let's just be entertained, right? So this is the line chart that was on TV at the time. And so that looks like the same chart. That's all I'm trying to identify right now. So if we look at this, this is obviously, he is saying he's short at the bottom, And currently, the current price on the upper right-hand side is $610, right? Ow, ouchie, right? That's what you're probably thinking. So this guy is giving his opinion. He's giving his opinion. Now, a lot of people, if they don't pay attention or if they don't have the knowledge, they will rely on his opinion and maybe sell their shares. That's unfortunate, right? So this is his little speech. Let's see, in September of 2022, OpenAI came out in January of 23. So at this time, I was watching this live. I was buying graphics cards. They were about $5,000 a piece during the crypto bull run. So it's not a good idea to buy during the bull run, right? So I waited until the market cooled off and the bear cycle happened. And I was buying the same graphics cards for $500 a piece. That way I can get ready to mine for the next bull run, right? So I didn't listen to him because I like computers. I like, I'm totally in on what AMD is doing, what NVIDIA is doing. And I was kind of shocked that he was saying this. And I'm like, wow, this is probably the bottom. This is probably getting close to the bottom. So let's move forward and see, this was 11 months ago. So this was probably about February, March of 23 after OpenAI. Let's see what he has to say about NVIDIA.
Because we owned a company called NVIDIA. the big semiconductor company, and the semis just got slaughtered day after day after day. We stuck with NVIDIA because the chips are the backbone of artificial intelligence. And more important, when this kind of stock bottoms, it comes back so fast you might not get a chance to get back in. Buy at a better price. So we stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it. And one day, everyone's talking about this thing called Chat GPT. But the thing is, it starts on NVIDIA's platform. Game changer. When the stock was at 108 in October of last year, I was taking gas, down more than 60% from its top. Everyone laughed at me, made me sick. People in this walking the street said, what are you still in that NVIDIA for? Check NVIDIA out today. It's doubled since then. Today, I constantly hear that if you want an AI play, you should look no further than NVIDIA. Look at it. Heck, I renamed my darn dog after it. Very confusing for the dog, unless you have meat in your hand. People thought this story was all about video games, but it's about innovation. And now NVIDIA is powering one of the most important platforms of all time. If you played through the pain last year, you now got this enormous gain.
Yeah, so you same source right here. You can develop your own opinion. However, that seems a little different from this previous video. And look, guys, it really makes me sick. It makes me sick that he has a platform and people trust him. It makes me sick. He has a right to have his own opinion. You know, he's a flip-flopper. That's definitely, you know, develop your own opinion. All right, I'm not going to brainwash you. I'm not going to push my ideas on you. But you need to do this research. That's why it's super important to do this research. So basically, what happened? He was saying, sell all your NVIDIA here. Now, was he saying that so he can buy up your shares because he knew it was the bottom? You know, so he can get a little bit cheaper. Was he saying that? We don't know. We don't know his intent. So he may have been saying that, hoping that people sold into his buys. I don't know if he is that. He might be that kind of person. I'm not challenging. I'm not trying to force my views on you. That's what I'm saying. But my personal opinion is that he's intelligent enough to try to get people to sell their shares so he can buy. Let's watch this video.
You'd appreciate it. So, I mean, look, that would be something if this stock really, I mean, they do the numbers and the stock is not expensive versus Apple versus Microsoft. So I think it's pretty compelling. I do think they had a great quarter, and I do think the long lives were out at the quarter because of China. And I'm not as worried about China, and I'm not as worried about the AI that they may not get right this year versus next year. I do know that obviously their chips are so powerful that our government has to worry about them going places.
We didn't mention this story on the tape on some bulls turning on Novo and Lilly because of some of those forward Ps.
Yeah, look, I do think that in the end, that will be determined by whether the insurers pick them up next year. And that means that they have to have.
All right, so he's kind of calmly talking about NVIDIA now, and that was 2 months ago, right here. Same source. Like, I'm trying my hardest to use the same source. So your journey is your journey alone. Is he allowed to have opinions? Yes. And is it ethical? I don't know. But one thing we are going to go over is what this is. This is very important. But as far as psychology, I hope I kind of changed your perspective. So we're going to go back to the slide. So the psychology is analysts you see on TV or your personal broker may make statements that seem like fact, right? All a broker or an analyst should do is give you a probability. They should say, you know, it's a 90% chance that this stock will go up, or there's a 60% chance that this stock will go up, you know, and they're supposed to give you guidance on what risk there is, right? So what the potential risk is, you know, they should give you information about that company. Oftentimes, when you deal with a broker, you're just putting money into something, into a mutual fund or a 401k. And you're kind of just trusting them, right? And it's weird that you trust these people with your money. Do you think they have your best interest in mind? So that brings me to friends at work and at school, or, you know, wherever. They will give you advice, or they will tell you, oh, you should buy some crypto. It's going to go to the moon and all this stuff, right? That in my head is way more risky than learning. So TA and which is critical thinking. That's what technical analysis is. It's critical thinking. Can empower you to make sound decisions, and not just sound decisions, but your own decisions, right? So our brains play tricks on us. We want to trust people who have certificates, degrees, knowledge, age. In short, we trust figures in authority. And my biggest lesson I took, and I used to fall victim and get finessed and scammed. My biggest lesson I took is, if I fear something, all I have to do is understand it. And the knowledge is the key to mitigate your fears. So, like I said, I was buying the NVIDIA graphics cards for my crypto mining operation. I had no idea OpenAI was about to come out, but I knew the graphics cards were used for AI. I knew they were using them to process and all that stuff. So when I usually buy something like physically, I also buy the stock. So if I buy Nike shoes, and I love Nike shoes, I'm going to buy the stock as well, because I obviously believe in that company. If you're into, if you're in the medical industry and you love the medical industry and you love the research behind it, and you start buying a product, say a UV light, you like UV lights, you think they do great at sterilizing medical equipment or whatever, you might want to look into companies that, are using a lot of innovation and research to develop better UV lights. You might, if you're buying a product or using a product and you believe in it, you're already doing that research. That's the power of research. So if you're into video games and you're trying to assemble a computer, and you notice that during the bull run, you can't find a graphics card anywhere for under $5,000, and then they drop, guess what a lot of people are going to do who've been waiting years to build that computer? They're buying those graphics cards at discount rate. So we like to trust authority figures, right? We like to trust authority figures. Look at that mouth. I swear, guys, I swear. You have to believe me, right? So use critical thinking. TA is a pathway to critical thinking. And all it takes is a little bit of knowledge. A little bit of knowledge, which you probably already have. So here's the question. Is this illegal? Are they allowed to lie? Advertising, lying, or paying for FUD, and FUD stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's not illegal. It's not. Is it unethical? In my eyes, yes. Illegal? Not so much. So if we're speaking on legal terms, Jim Cramer has the right to an opinion. He has that right. Now, they are not making you press that buy or sell button. That is key. They are not making you sell. They are not making you buy. The only person with that power is you. So you have to hold yourself accountable for the gains and losses. The sooner you realize this, the better off you'll be. You have to hold yourself accountable. So this is going to be harsh, and this is going to be, people can say they use social psychology and manipulation, and these megalomaniacs use the dark arts of the human brain to make you buy. They brainwash you into it. You can research social psychology and groupthink and confirmation bias, but it is solely up to you. So stop. Like, I hear this about all kinds of traders. They cry about manipulation. The first thing traders do when they lose is blame other people. So that's the easiest way to do things. That's called scapegoating, right? You're not taking ownership of a mistake you made, right? And when it comes down to it, the world doesn't give a crap whether you succeed or fail. The world is going to still move and turn, and trades are still going to be made. And no matter how loud you cry, or how much you complain, or how unfair things might be, the world doesn't care. And so this brings me to my next point. Whether you succeed or fail, I do not care. I'm not your father. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your broker. I don't care. No one cares. No one is coming. It's up to you. No one is coming. And you will have the power. You will be empowered to make sound judgment if you do this right. So, do people try to cheat or lie to win? Yes. Will you be finessed, scammed, or manipulated? That's up to you. That is up to you. Peer pressure, it's tough. Groupthink, we all do it. We all fall into groupthink. We have biases from our natural environment and from how we were raised. And we kind of look for evidence that support a bias that we already have. So why I think everyone should learn TA? Because technical analysis empowers you to build a system or a flow, a workflow, right? And if you're losing trades, you don't be quick to blame. You can actually look at your process and see where the issue is in your process. So if there is manipulation, right, you should have a system that deflects that defends you against manipulation. Having a process or a flow or a system, you can find the root cause of why you lost those trades. So if you're losing a series of trades, it might be your system. Don't blame Jim Cramer. We're all Jim Cramers. We all are. We all will be wrong. He's a little bit confident, right? I don't go around telling people how confident I am and say, you must 100% do this, right? I just tell people what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Take it or leave it. I'm not going to tell someone to lose money. I'm not going to tell someone to win money or to trade. That is up to you. So this is my biased definition of accountability, because that's the only portion you have control over. You don't have control over commercials. You don't have control over Jim Cramer. But what you do have control over is yourself. So the only process that you can fix and improve is you. Simple as that. So let's go back a couple slides. Think about this. Think about that. My personal beliefs, my personal bias, people will try to discredit, right? The first thing people do, if you don't have a degree, if you don't have certificates or knowledge, and you're not old enough, right? The first thing they do is discredit you. If you watch the TV talking heads and they talk about politics, right? The first thing they do is discredit the opposition. That's the first thing they do. And then they make their argument. So think about how this can help you not only in trading, but your everyday life. Think about that. And that's all I got. And moving forward, we're going to go a little bit more over psychology. This is just my perspective. I got to be careful because my perspective could be wrong. So stay humble. Your perception is from your point of view. However you want to identify this, you can, but I would pick up a book about social psychology. It's basically I think it's Social Psychology 256 in college. But it's an intro to social psychology. You have to grind through that to understand what I'm talking about and get that perspective. It will talk about authority figures. It will talk about groupthink. It will talk about confirmation bias. It will also talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect. I think psychology is a big portion of trading, and I'm going to try to articulate it the best I can, but come up with your own opinion. That's what this whole lesson is about, is do your own research. Don't trust me. Do not trust me. This should give you the breadcrumbs. Everything that I teach you should give you the breadcrumbs to start researching. And once you come up and develop your own opinion and your own system, you'll be successful. You'll be successful if you develop your own system based off of your own psychology and your time. That's all I got. And stay the course. And as always, keep learning, keep researching.